Ben Simmons is one of the most talented players in the NBA, but he does have a limited game. One of the biggest problems that Simmons faces is injuries and tends to miss many games due to it. But given the demands of the league, he's not the only one. Stay tuned as we talk about his latest injury and when he'll return, plus a look at some other injury-prone players in NBA history. Let's begin. First up, Ben Simmons has sustained yet another injury. After a difficult start, Ben Simmons was beginning to get traction. Ben appeared to be a shadow of his former self at the beginning of the season, but he has since bulked up. It set him up for one of the best parts of his season, which was capped by a double-double against his old team. Sadly, Ben Simmons will be out for Brooklyn for a little while longer, as he has been diagnosed with a muscle sprain in his left leg. Shams Charania of The Athletic said on Twitter that Simmons had pulled a muscle in his leg and would miss a few games. Simmons was in the middle of his greatest performance of the season while dealing with a number of injuries, including recent knee pain and edema. He could be back in a few games, but this is yet another injury for Ben to deal with.
Simmons for allowed two.
After missing all of last season for a serious back injury and some other personal reasons, it looks like his body is still getting used to NBA play. Of course, this is terrible news for Nets supporters, though some have been more understanding as he works to get better.
The play in the third. Simmons sees some daylight.
Moving on, will Ben Simmons ever be able to return to playing at an all-star level? More can be said about Ben's potential for fame this season than a month ago. Though his performance has fallen short of what his admirers had hoped for so far, things could change as the season progresses.
Read and react. Offense. Look at Simmons just shoves Market and is pretty strong himself out of the way.
One former MLB player, Richard Jefferson, claimed that if you take a year off and haven't seen a 100-mile-per-hour fastball, then when you do, it will seem like a 200-mile-per-hour fastball. Ben's head was whirling after the first few games since it was unlike anything else. Everybody saw his progress over the last 5 games. Jefferson further said that he'd scored 11, then he scored 15, which is not necessarily an indication of continued growth, but he's getting it. If you want to pass judgment on Ben, wait until he's played 50 games this season.
Simmons is out here just putting on a clinic.
He concluded by stating that he could see how people could criticize him after 50 games, but he didn't think it was fair for people to do so after only 8, 10, 15, or 20 games when Simmons hadn't even played the year before and had surgery in April. His development has been pushed back a few more days, and the Nets will need him to be more consistent if they are to have any shot at making the most of this season. Even though Simmons has sustained a lot of injuries throughout the course of his career, he isn't the only one.
Contact from Thompson. Looking for the whistle as Green went for the...
Let's take a look at the top 6 NBA superstars who are most prone to injury. Next is Steph Curry at number 6. Even though Curry has averaged 32 points per game this season, no one seems to care about his health. After missing much of the 2019-2020 season with a broken second metacarpal in his left hand, Curry had one of the best seasons of his career the year before. The problem is that Steph has had some trouble with injuries in the past. His right ankle and foot problems caused him to miss 40 games during the 2011-2012 campaign. During the 2016 playoffs, the player hurt his MCL, but he still played through the pain to get to the NBA Finals. For the first time since the 2016 season, Curry did not play in at least 70 games. Even so, from 2015 to 2019, Curry had 4 consecutive years of good health. This included continuing to play in the postseason while struggling with injuries. The Warriors, who have been the most successful team of the last decade, are looking to make history one more time by relying on Steph's insane form and cashing in on it before he calls it quits. Followed by Kevin Durant at number 5. KD might as well have been called Durable Durant when he played for the Thunder, the first of 4 consecutive seasons in which Durant played in at least 80 games. In 2014, he was limited to just 27 games because of the Jones fracture he sustained in his right foot. A bone bruise and an MCL injury he sustained in his debut season with the Warriors kept him from playing in more than 60 games. In spite of missing time in his second year due to a broken rib, Durant still managed to win Finals MVP honors twice. A right calf strain caused Kevin to miss 9 games in his final season. When Durant came back for the finals, he tore his Achilles tendon. This ended his season and the 2019-2020 one too. Durant was limited to just 35 games during the regular season because of time lost due to thigh contusions and hamstring problems. Moving on at number 4, Kyrie Irving. Irving was prone to injuries even as a college athlete. Damage to the ligaments in his right big toe was so bad that he could only play 11 games in college. From his rookie year to the 2015 NBA Finals, Irving was largely injury-free. Even though he was a key player for the Boston Celtics, Kyrie missed some postseason action due to a slew of minor injuries. Next, he had a right shoulder injury in his rookie year with the Nets and missed 26 games. The guard has played more than 70 games just twice in his career. If Irving hadn't been hurt, the Nets would have had a much better chance of making it to the NBA Finals. Instead, the Bucks won Game 7 against the Nets in Brooklyn, even without Irving, and with James Harden playing at only 50% of his normal capacity. Not to mention, he also has major unavailability issues, which aren't necessarily limited to injuries only, and that can be another problem when you have Kyrie on your team. Next is Anthony Davis at number 3. Davis made his first All-Star team as a member of the New Orleans Pelicans in the 2013-14 season, but he missed 7 games due to a hand fracture. He then suffered a shoulder sprain the next season and had to miss the All-Star game. The following year, even though he just signed a 5-year max contract, he missed most of the season due to injuries to his left knee and left shoulder. Davis missed 2 weeks of action in his final season with the Pelicans due to a sprained left index finger. Anthony's calf and heel problems caused him to miss 30 games last year. Then in Game 4 of the first round of the playoffs, he strained his groin. With Davis on the sidelines, the Lakers are no longer a formidable opponent, and there's absolutely no guarantee that AD can stay injury-free. His talent's never been in doubt, but what can you do with all that when you play so rarely? Now, with LeBron's age up by another year, the Lakers' chance of winning another title depends on Davis's health. Another one at number 2 is Kawhi Leonard. To date, Leonard has never logged more than 74 games in a season. His injury problems began in the 2017 playoffs. Leonard hurt his ankle against the Rockets in Game 5 of the second round of the playoffs. Then in the conference finals, Leonard further worsened his injury by stepping on Zaza Pachulia's foot. It didn't take long for the Warriors to sweep the Spurs and claim an NBA championship. The injury to his right quad led to friction with the team and ultimately a trade to the Raptors. Leonard missed the 2021 conference finals with a significant knee sprain after playing in only 52 of 72 games for the Clippers in his first year. If the Clippers decide to run the clock back for another year, they'll need Leonard to remain healthy if they want to reach the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. Finally, at number 1, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is the most injury-prone player in the NBA. After being selected 3rd overall in the 2014 NBA Draft, he had to sit out the first 2 seasons while he recovered from foot operations. With a torn meniscus in his left knee, Embiid missed All-Star Weekend during his rookie year, then an eye injury forced him to sit out the playoffs. After the All-Star break, Embiid missed 14 games for the Philadelphia 76ers this season. Only twice in his career has he played in more than 60 games. And while he's been a bit more available for the 76ers, Embiid has still only played over 100 games combined in the last 2 seasons. All that has usually led to the big man missing some crucial games throughout the season, and for the last 2 seasons, it has culminated in Embiid missing out on the MVP award. If he can stay fit, the 76ers might have a chance of making the conference finals, which they haven't been to in more than 2 decades.
Laying it out on the line. Putting your body out on the floor.
That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Ben Simmons will be able to return to his All-Star glory? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.